new series called Working with Oracle SQL Tables. In this series, we'll be covering with creating tables, selecting the data from the tables, inserting data into table, adding the primary key, foreign key, or additional constraints in the table. So today we'll be seeing how to create tables in Oracle SQL. So let's get started. First of all, let's have a look at the syntax. In order to create the table in Oracle SQL, we'll be using create table syntax. So it's create table followed by table name. So first we'll be working around with syntax, then we'll be seeing how actual tables are created in SQL Plus. So yeah, we'll be giving the parenthesis. Now let's see, we might be having column called ID of data type, number of size, let's say 7. That should be fine. We might be having, let's name our table users so that it will be clear. And yeah, we need to follow the proper naming conventions where the user defined words are kept as lowercase. So let's assume this might be having first name column of data type varchar 2, and then size might be around 25. While working with Oracle, we should be very careful that for the text data we should be using varchar 2 instead of varchar. Let's add another column called last name, where the data type might be same as the first name, which is varchar 2 of size, let's say 20. Yeah, now let's try to add another column called DOB. That's basically refers to date of birth. And yeah, in order to store any data values of date, we have a precise data type called DATE, date. So yeah, that should be fine with our columns or attributes and the data types for our very first table. So now let's close the parenthesis, and yeah, and let's add a semicolon. So here comma was missing. So now let's type this particular command in Oracle SQL Plus and see how our table gets created. So this screen is basically the SQL Plus. I have already logged in using my user. So let's create a table. So yeah, create table. We'll be creating the same users table that we recently saw. So we'll be having ID of data type number and size 7. So we'll be having first name column of data type varchar 2 of size 25. Then we'll be adding comma. You should not forget every attributes must be separated by comma. If the comma is not used, then there will be error in our syntax. So let's say it's size 20. Now let's try to add comma, and then wait for a moment. Space is missing over here, so which will also result in error. Now let's add DOB and its type as date. So now let's close the parenthesis and let's add semicolon. So now we should be able to see table created. So congratulations, you recently created your very first table in Oracle SQL.